Ravens live.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. August the 15th on a
Eagles.
Monday night. Got my Monday night theme going on. And here's the franchise guru back at it again with Maximilians, the co-host of the Real Talk Show. P Talk tonight. Playoff talk continues. Down the stretch, feeling, looking for approval. Who's going to get to the motherfucking dance for one of our last seasons? Conversations, man. Got to get into the playoffs. Things happen, slowed it down a little bit, but a couple guys couldn't play vacations. Ended them summer vacations happening and things like that. Man, I know guys are getting ready to download and lock in on that Madden 23. I know guys are going to be wanting to lock in certain teams. You already know how to get at it. You want your team, the team you want, depending on, situations, the team you want, you know how to get at me, lock that thing in. If not, kiss my ass. See you when we choose. Other than that, playoffs, man. Playoffs, cuz we are talking about the playoffs, man. Let's get into the wild card matchup that happened, man. All right, so again, we did have some vacations that popped off. So when it comes down to the wild card, we did have 2 games, 1 game on each side that wasn't able to play. Forced wins was given out, and shit happens. You know what I mean? And in the process, this shit happened, and we deal with it. Pay attention, attitude. Yeah. All right, so let's get to it, man. What else we need to talk about? We need to make sure. Make sure injuries are back on. We did have to advance the lead and turn them off. They got to be on. It's playoffs. Playoffs. All right, so let's talk about the games that did get played. Wild card round. We had a thriller in the NFC. I'll talk about that in a second. But let's get right to it. Buffalo, the number 2 seed in the AFC, took on the Cleveland Browns, and Coach Jr. went into Buffalo. I'm trying to figure out, was this a weather condition game? I don't know for sure because we wasn't able to see it. But I know when you're playing ball in December and January in Buffalo and upstate New York, it's elements. They got one of the worst fields to play at in the elements, man. And if you ain't from out there playing in that weather, you come there, I don't care if you come from a cold city or not. You get to Buffalo, it's different. I went to junior college there for a year in Albany, New York, the Sweeney State, right? And you get up there, it was 22 inches of snow. It was tough. I ain't gonna hold you. It was tough. It's like playing in Michigan in a way. Like looking at one of those Michigan Ohio State games late. Oh my God, football back. Oh. Anyway, Buffalo. Dante Moore, the young cannon, not the diaper dandy, but the young cannon takes over for the Buffalo Bills and Coach Hoodie, and they had a MVP caliber running back this year, Evan Pryor, in the backfield. Brian Robinson Jr., the Alabama kid for the Cleveland Browns, has stepped up all year and showed us that, okay, I know I had a late start to my career, but I'm the guy and he's the guy. So we dig into what happened in this game and see how it went down. Box score, you got 494 in the passing yards, so offense and defensive. I mean, offense, passing and rushing, I apologize. But offensive yards totally gained, 494 to 384. The Browns won that. On the ground, Evan Pryor been doing it all year long. And again, 146 yards to 91. And then in the air, 238 to 403. Matt Corral slinging that thing. But the balance attack looked really more balanced over there in Buffalo. 19 first down to 11. The Browns won that. So 3 out of the first 4 stat categories we're looking at, the Browns won that. 3 turnovers to 2, and that's usually where the game is won or lost at in the turnover department. The Browns turned the ball over 3 times. Hoodie and the Buffalo Bills turned it over twice. Time of possession, 17 minutes to 14, pretty much 15 minutes. Even Steven. Let's look at individual play. Dante Moore had 107.7 QB rating, 246 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 picks in his second playoff appearance. And I'll say second because he did play for the Lions, but he wasn't the starter in that game. He got on the field some. They had a mixture of him, 5-star, and Doolittle, who is now a Packer. But in his pretty much first playoff game as a starter, Dante Moore didn't do a bad job, Max. He was sacked once, threw 2 touchdowns, threw 2 picks, 246 yards. He was efficient, 100 QBR, 11 completions, 17 incompletions, 64%. So just looking at his numbers by itself, Max, how do you feel like Dante did?
I feel like he did pretty solid. He made some mistakes, but it looked like he was a main factor in them moving the chains. It looks like. I mean, this is his first playoff game with this team. I don't think these are terrible numbers, but definitely something to look at.
I'm not going to say super impressive. What I will say is he was able to manage the game, right? You don't want to see the turnovers for 2 picks. But being a young gunner in the playoffs for the first time, 64%, we'll take that all day. They showed up and showed off. Now, the Browns had to know coming into this game, they had to stop, Evan Pryor, who, on the Ant Hits Opinionated show, he was the MVP of the league. I think he finished 3rd, and they both carried the ball. Look, Brian Robinson Jr. had 17 carries. He averaged 5.2. And Pryor had 16 carries, and he averaged 5.1. So my question is, they both got a little sticky on the ground. It wasn't nothing crazy in the run game, but it looked consistent. And they both decided to run the ball. So I'm looking at these stats, and it's starting to feel like it was weather element.
Definitely gives a little bit of weather element.
All right, so right now, you looking at the stats. It's like, man, did the Browns really lose this game? Let's look at Matt Corral, 81.8, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Now you're looking at a guy that's been in the league for a 7th season, and he's been in the playoffs more than once. What do you say about his performance?
Just far too many picks for him to give his chance. I mean, to give his team the best winning chance. Even though the other team did commit 2 turnovers, it's still less than 3. And at any point, just with this coach, 3 turnovers is enough to kind of close the game.
I mean, man, Matt Corral threw the ball, had 43 attempts in this game, 24 for 43. He was 55%. We don't like the completion percentage at all. But he threw the ball 43 times in this game, Max. That seems like it might not be the recipe for success. It looked like he had to throw the ball, right? But in a sense, you look at the run game, and it looks like the running back 5 yards to carry. That's not forcing me to have to throw the ball. So was that by choice?
I would think maybe with the extra turnover, maybe he was trailing at some point and running the ball just wasn't his best option. He was killing too much clock.
Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, we had a couple fullback dives on the goal line from Truman. He had 2 touchdowns in that game as well. Now, Pryor didn't see the end zone as a running back. How about as a receiver? Did he touch the end zone? And in fact, no. 5 catches, 21 yards off the backfield. But Stockton showed up and showed off. Listen, Coach Hoodie spoke about his receiver that he picked up in free agency, and he said, "Watch out for this guy." I think he lived up to the watch out. I think it's no more time to watch no more. He's on your radar now. He's a guy that you're going to pay attention to. Because with Evan Pryor having the type of year he had, Keenan was right behind him with lights out numbers for a receiver playing for the first time with Dante Moore being a Buffalo Bill. This kid comes in a playoff game, 4 catches for 176 yards max, 44 yards a pop, 2 touchdowns. He had a 102 yard run after catch, and averaged 25.5 yards every time he touched the ball. Dynamic game by Keenan Stockton, man. Can you put any stock into Stockton? No pun intended.
I mean, I would have to see. He's been consistent all year. This was a good on notice game. I would have to see what his output was against the Jaguars and the secondary that's a little bit more evolved in a way. But impressed for sure.
Definitely impressive. Again, I think he moved himself up the chain. He's in the top 10 when it comes down to receivers this year. And especially, again, you got to emphasize what Evan Pryor has been to that team all year. But Zach Wheatley, the veteran, the 11-year veteran, tight end, 9 catches, 154 yards. He had a touchdown in this game. Justice Key stepped up, 6 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown as well. Yeah, Jelani Watkins, 3 catches, 74 yards in his second year. Touchdown. I think this was his rookie year. His season's over, so now we're looking at a guy that has 1 year full experience. But Jelani Watkins stepped up in this game, so he got play out of his receivers. Like, they played pretty well. These good numbers. I would think Jordan Addison, didn't have the day he would like to have had. But when you look at the Cleveland Browns and you look at this game, man, again, I'm looking at stats that don't show me a loss. So, like, the turnovers had to play a big role in that loss. Those 3 turnovers had to play a big key in the loss. And then a lot of it could be, like you said, let's look at the box score. 6-7, 7-7, 21. Buffalo went off in the third quarter, 21-6. So it looks like that, that third and fourth quarter was throwing quarters. And you could almost guarantee most of those turnovers came in that third quarter. So now, you look at the stats and you look at the box score. You go back to the passing game of the Cleveland Browns in this game, and you can see a lot of it was second half. Had to throw the ball. They gave up 21 points in that third quarter. That put the Bills in a good situation and put the Browns and Matt Corral in catch-up mode. And you can see why the receiving yards look the way they look in the process of that. But you look at the Bills again. Stockton had a day. Pryor caught the ball only 4.2. His average was way down on catching the ball out the backfield. 5 catches for 21 yards. This guy averaged somewhere between 5 to 10 catches a game. And he was somewhere up there in there 10 yards a catch. So the Browns did a pretty good job on isolating him and making sure he didn't kill him, because he didn't see the end zone as a receiver or a running back. So it looks like the Browns' game plan was Evan Pryor. The question is, did you forget about Keenan Stockton? Because I'm looking at this, right? And if your running back don't have a touchdown, you did get 2 goal line touchdowns from your fullback. So that's just finishing drives there, right? 2 dives, fullback dives for 2 touchdowns. Right? So that's fullback situations. It looked like the Bills scored on defense in this game. They had to put something in the end zone. 14 points. Aubrey Miller, Ida Teller. Listen, 2 of the better players on defense in the league produced with touchdowns in this game, man. Anytime your defense can score points for you to put you in a good situation. So in that wild card round, the Bills move on 45-26. They had an outstanding day with their defense and balanced offense, and they was able to control the game enough to explode 21-6 in that third quarter to take down the Cleveland Browns and Coach Jr. We stay here in the AFC. Forced win here, so we're not going to talk about the game. 38-3. Jimbo went on vacation, had to get off the forced win in that game. 38-3. As we continue to slide over to the other side of things and look at another game that was the forced win, and 24-21, the Saints over the Lions, and Antonio had some things going on, family issues. Praying for your aunt too, bro. But the Saints get to move on to the divisional round. Now I don't care how they get to move on; they're moving on. Again, the Saints had a big year this year, and it's not his fault he wasn't able to play that game. But we have to congratulate the fact that he's in the divisional round. Max, there's a lot of guys in the NFC uh, that made the playoffs and never seen past the wild card round. So that's a good thing to be able to hang on a little, in my opinion, for the Saints. Would you agree or disagree with that? No matter how he got that win, he was in the divisional round.
I mean, yeah, we definitely like to give acknowledgement because it's no different than same acknowledgement for CPU game. But I think the only problem with it is it gives that sense of unproven still, but you still acknowledge and admit that they were in the playoffs regardless of, so the chance was 50-50 at that point.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so we slide to 3 verse 6 in the NFC. That game was played. And the Bucks is back, man. They back and they in the playoffs, showing that they still a dominant team, a dominant force in this league right now. And we go to the numbers and see what happened in Buffalo and Tampa Bay. All right, so our Washington football team. Before we get into the conversation, Max, this football team again, another team from your division. 3 of you guys made the playoffs over there. Just give me a little breakdown on the Washington football team this season and what they've done this year. We'll start with what was positive for the Washington football team, and then I would want to know what was negative in your opinion.
We were able to stay consistent during the season, establish a kind of like a status quo record for them to show people what they were capable of. I think they still had some games that they dropped that could have had them in a better win situation. They kind of showed a sense of playing a little bit of better, clean football. Sims did have games where picks were thrown, but his touchdown to interception ratio, I believe, wasn't too bad.
He was a different quarterback this year. Sims definitely was
Yeah,
a different quarterback this year.
the arrival of DR2. Okay, Fo. We
Yeah.
can. He said we can play after you're done with the show.
All right. Cool.
Um, the arrival of Deuce Robinson, 2. Uh,
You
the
got Nicholas
consistency.
Harbor. The front seven of
Yeah.
that
I was
team
getting
was,
at defense.
yeah.
Defense. Nicholas Harbor, Wolverine had a stellar year. Uh, I think he got some good play out of his secondary.
Hmm.
Falk had a good ass year. Um, Kind of a standard was set. It looked like there were some key pieces that kind of pointed out for them on defense that if we had a couple more seasons, I think he would be able to kind of take that and roll into it and build some more.
Yeah, put it
Um,
this way though, before you continue on, like being able to go into the last season with what they did this year, I think this is something they build off of. And in that last season, you saw guys that won best D line, Angelo Falk. You had guys, the rookie was up there all year long. Like you had guys that really showed up on that defense. I think they should, carry that into the last season. I think this team is going to surprise some guys next season for the final season. Especially if they're going hard on that final season, like we all should. While we are getting ready for Madden 23, that last season is everything, man. Who's going to close this out with a bowl? But I think the football team is on course right now, and I think that team is completely put together the way they would like it to be. And to finish off 22, the disc would be great. Seeing them, you know, take that next step. And I think the next step with them is just winning the playoff game.
yeah, it's really just their next step. That's all they missed out on. But I think this was the type of season where you could have looked at the football team and been like, okay, this is what they should have been looking like more often than not.
he moved up
But
my
he's
ranks. You know, he moved up my ranks as a player in this league. Like when you look at the 32 players in this league, I think Hitter this season, watching him play it, you know, spending time in conversation with him on how he saw the field and things he did, to me, moved him up the chain a little bit.
I think he's got overall better as a coach than he uses.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's where
it's
I
what
was
you
trying to get
strive
at.
for. It's what you strive for. Disc in and disc out.
Yes, sir. All right, so you look at the game stats, box scores. Tampa Bay went into this game, and it looks like they was up 35 nothing in this game. If my math is right, 21, 27, 28, yep, 35. They went up 35 nothing in this game. Um, Man, that's a hell of a start for Tampa Bay. It looked like they was kicking on all cylinders. Um, I mean, even the football team, they just were struggling. They had a bad day. They missed a field goals, missed extra points when they did. Look, both those uh, third and fourth quarter points were extra points missed. So they were just having a bad day overall. Missing reads, seconds, you know, being off. You know, he said it felt like he was a second or two behind every time, every play. Just wasn't a good game for that team. And Tampa Bay showed its dominance in the moments. I mean, they come out smoking. Look, we in Florida, we're back. You got to come to me. We're playing from a seed we haven't played from in a long time. But guess what? We got nothing but things to do improve. And I think they made a statement. You know, 541 offensive yards gained, 359, but they only had 85 rushing yards. So they came out and they thrown the ball. This Tampa Bay team been throwing the ball all year. And they haven't really relied on Ruggs, although he's there and can make it happen for him at any moment. They, you know, Wills has been the guy, man. He's been throwing the ball around the park, and it hasn't just been one guy in the receiver room. Like they're using their entire arsenal. Really, look at that. He is Woodbury, who had a great year. Boo McCoy always there for a season. You had Ray step up a little late. We kind of forgot about Ray a little bit, but he started to step up a lot late. And then the running back Ruggs, not only as a runner, but he caught the ball really well out the backfield as well. Football team did have 166 yards on the ground to their 85. But again, 456 in the
Ravens
passing
lead.
game to 193. 10 offensive first down to 13. You're looking at total yards 580 to
Balls.
395, and you cannot win a ball game with 7 turnovers. Now, as much as we talked about the football team taking that next step and how they've been playing all year, this right here really looks like resorted back to their old ways.
Yeah. I definitely just feel like they kind of had a moment of like down. But even their game against the Lions, they kind of had a like deflate moment. Still got the win, but I just think they set a bad trend going into the game, and it set
Right.
them up for failure.
Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna win a game, especially when another team doesn't turn the ball over at all, and you give them 7 turnovers. And you know the outcome of 7 turnovers to none is a 59-12 ball game, um, which killed them in that game. Let's just get into the stats. 156.8 QBR for Ray Wills, 462 yards, and threw 7 touchdowns. Again, it's only sacked once. Sims got sacked 5 times in this game, threw 6 picks as well in this game. So he really really got shut. But he ran the ball really well. 12 carries for 95 yards, 8 yards to pop. Did fumble in that game. So not only did he throw 6 picks, he had a fumble as well. Ruggs had 15 carries, 75 yards, 5 yards to pop, touchdown. He was consistent. That's a nice amount of carries for Ruggs. How do you feel about that though? 75 yards rushing, 5 yards to carry. Jaleel Ruggs.
I think he was just asked to move the chains, give him good down and distance.
They had
Really
their
wasn't
mind made
asked.
up on
Yeah,
throwing the football in this game.
yeah.
And they getting a little bit of play out of Jeremy Rucker. The same way they got out of 99 Reasons. It looked like he stepped up in this game. 6 catches, 120 yards, 20 yards to pop, 2 touchdowns. Woodbury again, he's been playing good all year. 6 catches, 118. He had 3 touchdowns in this game. Joseph scored as well in this game. 3 catches for 93 yards. They were going up top. Looked like they was trying to take the heads off of the football team, and they threw the ball all over the park. Boo McCoy scored as well, 84 yards on 2 catches. A lot of guys saw the end zone in that, and this is what I was talking about. It's the Ray Will show. And the reason why I say that is because all their receivers are making plays for them. He doesn't have, to me, I don't think he has a locked in target on who he likes to, as a quarterback. Like we saw, when 99 Reasons was there, he was the guy. Then it was a Brew McCoy situation. But I think the fact that he got different guys involved, and then last year during his rookie campaign, Joseph was the pretty much feature target. It opened up them being able to throw to all their receivers and find ways to get them involved. Because they had an outstanding game. You just look at the Bucks receiving core as a whole; they went crazy in this game. Jaleel Ruggs out the backfield, 6 catches as well. It seemed like everybody and their mama got to touch the football in this game, and it resulted into what they do. On the defensive side of things, you got to stay here. They again, the football team gave up 6 sacks in this game. I will say this: the football team dealt with injuries all year. A lot of those injuries, guys came back, but like I don't think he played a game this year that somebody didn't drop in that game. It was times where 2 guys dropped in that game.
Far as picking teams when we starting up, etc.
Yeah, yep. I'm getting into all that. We got a long way before our league start though. So, but yeah, we'll get into all those type of conversations. Um, But again, sacks. Matt just had 2 from the D tackle position. Jacobs off the edge, sack and a half. Shazier had a sack, and then Breeston from that sub linebacker package also had a half a sack. Interception wise, Breeston led the pack. He led the league in interceptions all year with 17. He had 2 in this game. Seemed like everybody touched the ball though on defense here. You had Kilbree. You got names that you really don't seen or never really seen playing for these guys are all of a sudden stepping up, balling right now. Like the cornerback here, Kilbree, with a pick in this game. Sam McCall, their number 1 overall pick, not number 1 overall, but their first round pick a couple drafts ago out of Florida State with an INT as well. Joey Porter Jr. shows up with a pick in this game, and then Tony Grimes also had a pick in this game. Max, the Bucks look good. There's nothing else to say but that, right? They looked really good. We didn't doubt that they would win this ball game at all, but did they come out and do more than we expected them to do in this game? Because it looked like they came out and went the fuck crazy.
It just kind of, we didn't know exactly how they were going to be able to jump back into it and show kind of the dominance that they can run off with. And I think they kind of just came to play and was playing fast, and they looked up and it was 35 to whatever. They just kept kind of finishing. So I think the Bucks came to play, kind of made a statement game.
It was 35 to Nathan before Nathan caught his first touchdown pass. Haha, like my pun there. Oh man. Anyway, let's keep it moving right now and go into that game that was played. Look, man, the Cowboys and the Cardinals game was a really good football game. I was able to watch this game from start to finish, and I will say this: they are back. So I'm not giving them a moral victory, but they are back. That Cowboys team is completely back. Max, you disagree with that?
No, they're definitely back.
And you know what?
Offensive hiccups, but they definitely had the Cardinals to a point in that game.
And my thing is this: if this team could throw the football, right? Because they threw the ball pretty solid in this game, but it was a lot of 50-50s that happened. It was a lot of he animated first, his guy came down with it, all of a sudden his guy's in the end zone. So a lot of those type of plays they made, but that's part of their DNA. They do that, right? And again, I've been screaming all year long with C.J. Stroud at quarterback. You got to find a way to be able to move the chains consistently through the passing game, and it can't just be throw it up and let my 6'6" receiver or 6'5" receiver out jump your guy or come down with the ball. It got to be some consistent route running. What I saw from the Cowboys was a whole lot of rolling out, and it got very predictable. And you're playing a good coach like the GOAT, right? The GOAT at Falk. That's the head coach over there. Don't think I'm calling him the GOAT for all y'all start dick riding thinking I'm dick riding. But the GOAT at Falk over there, they understood this team is, for the first half of this ball game, when he is throwing the ball, is a lot of roll out to the left shot plays. And Max, you saw what I saw. The moment he locked in on that, it made it harder for that Cowboys team to, continue to get those type of plays off. But for the first half of this game, the Cowboys was the better team on the field. I mean, undeniably the better team. Because even when the Cardinals struck back, the Cowboys struck back. So when the Cardinals made their run, they stopped the run by making a run of their own. Again, they started off 17. This was a 17-0 ball game. before those 14 points got ran off, and that's when you see 24 points that got ran off in the I'm sorry, 27 it is. My math is off. 14 and 17, 28. Yeah, we're looking at 34 points, 32, some shit like that. 31 points got ran off in the second and third quarter by the Cardinals, right? And that was the turnaround. So that first half, again, that first half of that ball game, even in the third quarter, early in the third, the Cowboys looked like the better team on the field. But then, the Cardinals just ran off shit, and it started with their cornerback play that they got. I mean, this guy. Let's just go there first, man. And I'm gonna talk about him because I traded him. Kamari Rogers. Listen, 3 interceptions max in this game. He took one to the crib, 2 deflections in this game. Um, took one to the crib, and that was the game changer in the second half. That pick he took to the crib for 74 yards was nuts. But he stepped up, man. He came to play. He literally came to play, and I think what he did was he warped himself into, I'm the new number one corner for this Cardinals defense. Simple as that. I'm the guy that's going to draw the attention of your guy. But let's go look at what happened offensively. Look in the passing game. I don't know where the hell his quarterback went. He must have cut him or something or let him go. I don't see his go. There you go. I'm sorry. I was only on the call. I want to be on both. That's where I want to be. All right. There we go. I'm sorry. So 106.8 QB rating, 415 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. And I'm telling you now, Nico reverted back to the Nico that was of the past, right? These 4 interceptions in this game. This Nico will not make it out of the divisional round with numbers like this. What was it about that Cowboys defense that had? I know they locked in man to man. They played a whole lot of man in that game, a whole lot of man in that game, and they just lined up and said, "Look, we're gonna get pressure, and that pressure gonna come, and we're gonna line up man to man. If you do beat us, you have to make the reads to beat us." Nico struggled in the first half, bro. 4 interceptions. Those 4 interceptions came in that first half.
I would say definitely struggled in the first half. I feel like he knows he can't play like that moving forward, but it's also unfamiliarity between the Cardinals and the Cowboys. They kind of only play, it seems like, week 1 preseason, postseason, Jesus. They play towards the end of the regular season when the Cardinals kind of have to play vanilla, if you will. So I just feel like, it was a testament to the Cowboys defense, but a little unfamiliarity. And the Cowboys still do have playmakers, so you give them chances to make plays, they're going to make plays.
Look, they was over 50% when it came out of 50 balls, 65.3, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And that's the thing. When you're throwing 50-50s, you're either going to come down with it or the other team's going to come down with it. And we started to see that happen. That's where them 4 interceptions came from. When C.J. Stroud was stuck, that had to stay in that pocket, he did not have a good day. When he had to stay in the pocket and read the field from the pocket, he didn't do a good job at all. But I will say this, Reuben Owens, and this is the one thing that to me that stopped me for calling him the MVP of this season. And it's because in big games he still, the guy averaged 200 yards a game. And in big games, he still averaged 100 yards. But we expect that because that's their system. They run the football. The problem is Reuben Owens' 100 yards is no good to you if he cannot score touchdowns. And that's the Achilles heel. For them to even be in the game like they was in the game without him producing points himself told you how much those 50-50s was happening over there when the Cowboys was on offense. But Reuben Owens will not win a ball game for his team without putting points on the board. And you've seen it in this game. I mean, all the signs pointed to him having a good day. 17, 125, 7.4. But the no touchdowns matters to me. Cameron Harris, who is a sleeper, in my opinion, this guy has been balling since he's been the starter over there. 16 carry, 115, 7.22 touchdowns. He did what he had to do in this game. You look at the receiving room. Let's go look at the cards first. Malachi Wideman does what Malachi Wideman always do. But Jerrion Dickey stepped up in this game. 3 catches, 41.3 yards a pop. He had 2 touchdowns as well in this game. So, their receivers, their outside receivers, their 2 big boy receivers did all the work. Gilbert, 5 catches. He was doing a lot of cleanup dirty. Give me the chains. Let me move the chains for you. I didn't make a great big play like I usually do, but I moved the chains enough to better, keep us in the rhythm. But the game turned around because of the turnovers and then the fact that the Cowboys couldn't throw the ball in the second half once he shut down that rollout, the rollout playing that the Cowboys came with. Mac Jr. had 2.5 sacks. Falk was screaming about him all day that game. A half a sack for Michael Clemens. It was a great pickup in the free agency by the Cowboys with him. I think he should have an even better year next year for those Cowboys. Andrew Booth had 2 picks. Solo Savage, the 9th-year veteran, had a pick. And then Zion Ali in his year 8, he had a pick as well. So they had some big-time play out of their safety play. But the Cardinals are moving on in the playoffs. When you look at it, you look at the matchups. The Saints, when the Saints come marching home, they're on their way to New York. New York playing the dome now, so the weather elements aren't gonna get in the way. Well, the Saints is a dome team too. They're a track team when it comes down to playing indoors. And that matchup right now. Let me ask you, Max. You feel like this could be a scary matchup for you right now? I do. I believe this could be a scary matchup for the New York Giants. Because if I'm the Saints, I'm coming in this game. I don't got shit to lose. I don't got nothing to lose. Look, we've been flying high all year. I would say the only thing that I will want to do if I'm the Saints is prove that we can be the top-notch team. We played some good teams, really good coaches, some of the top coaches in the league this year. We either, lost close games to them, and then we also, kind of gave up the most points we've given up all year to 2 teams, 2 of the top teams in the league. Well, when we play the Giants, you're playing another top team in the league. So I think they got to come into this game and just let it loose, man. And I don't mean throwing the ball. I don't mean NWA in it. I mean just let loose. You don't got nothing to lose. Give it your all. Go all out and really try to shock the world here. And I think we can be in for a good game. The Giants has been flying high all year. Number 1 defense in the league. I mean, offensively, they've been up there in the top 5, rushing the ball, throwing the ball. They've been in every stat as a team. They've been in that top offensively and defensively. So they're playing really good football right now. The layoff though, the layoff can hurt. Getting back on the field could be a little rusty with the stick work. And the Saints got to take full advantage of that situation as well. But it kind of hurt them too because they got a forced win to get there, so they ain't played a game in a couple of days either. And then you look at the second matchup in the NFC. It's the rematch. It's the game. They played late, week 17, and the Bucks blew the Cardinals out. What does that mean to you, Max? What does that mean? Cardinals kind of got it, took them to them. When they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is that motivation? Now y'all see why I be looking for new co-hosts and shit. These motherfuckers are the weirdest motherfuckers around. He probably fucking hanging with Blau. Anyway, tell Blau I said shut the fuck up. Damn. Anyway, I don't know if that ass whooping that the Cardinals took was something that they should be worried about or even use for motivation because we both know both these teams are different in the playoffs. Both of them. There's always going to be spice, since the fight is always going to be spice there when they play. Neither one of them need motivation to get up for this type of game. And honestly, this is damn near a baby Super Bowl. Let's just be real. This is a baby Super Bowl. This is the game we're going to watch. This is the game that all eyes will be on. And it's going to be guys rooting for certain teams. It's going to be guys rooting for the Cardinals. It's going to be guys rooting for the Bucks. And whatever side of the rooting you're on, you're going to be locked in to see, your guy or your team, the team you're picking to win this ball game. I'm definitely going to have this game as a pick'em game for sure. definitely a pick'em game. So let's get y'all phones out and start getting y'all DMs on, because this is a pick'em game. You're gonna pick your winner in this game to be able to clean up for the final season after the Super Bowl. Right after our last Super Bowl this year, we got one more coming up. And you're gonna better benefit from that, because I'm giving out a pick'em gift for this game. Right here. So pick it. Cardinals, Bucks, who you got? You know the deal. Screenshot that you're watching the show. Hit that like button. I shouldn't have to say that a million times. Hit that like button. And later on, some point later on within a week, though later on sometime in this week, I will be giving y'all information to get to the Madden Franchise Junkies website. If you're playing in our league, you have to join that website. Again, I told y'all we're going to different lengths now. We're ready to get into a different spectrum of how we present in our leagues and how we doing things right now. So I will be giving out the website information for you guys to get inside that and enjoy it and benefit from some of the things that I'm gonna be doing on that website. But anyway, Cardinals, Bucks, who y'all got? On the other side of things, the Buffalo Bills played the Jaguars already. They won that game 29-10. But however, I will not be talking about this game. We'll talk about it later once the other games are complete. And we'll get into it. Next game is the rematch, Week 18 rematch between the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. This is another slick game. This is a sneaky game right here. We're going to pick this game as well. So you guys got two games to pick, two gifts to get. But the Dolphins come into this game. This Dolphins team is a real tricky team. Coming into this game, there's a lot of things that we're going to have to worry about for this game. It's always hard to play a team. You just played in Week 18. You got to play them again in the playoffs in your first game in the playoffs. So this is tricky as well. To me, this game can go either way. Either or can win this game at any moment. Both these two coaches can coach their asses off, and both of them put together really good rosters to better play this type of game. Matchups is going to be everything in this game. Bottom line, just the matchups. The wide receivers for the Dolphins matched up against the DBs for the Ravens. The offensive line for the Dolphins matched up against the D-line for the Ravens. Vice versa. Matchup is everything. What quarterbacks are going to come to play? I'm saying what running backs are going to get. I think the Dolphins will try to establish a run game, especially since they hit them for 150 plus in the Week 18 game. So I think they will attack Baltimore with their run game and try to establish that before they let Felix Harper, Trigger Man, do what he do. But again, they're your games to pick. I'm hitting the like button now. I'll be sending my picks over to Maximus. He might be in his game. Instead of me cussing him out, he might have jumped in his game already. But other than that, we'll see y'all after these games are played. And here's the franchise guru. Are you ready for 23? I am. Holla.